What's up, man? We live, man. We live, man. Hey, what's up, everybody? Out
What's
there
up?
on
What's up?
YouTube and out there in Facebook. Hey, man, it's been a long time, man. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere though. Been busy. A lot of things going on. School starting, and we got some family stuff going on. So, we gotta go bury one of our patriarchs. He's down and he's going to be an ancestor now, but he lived a long life, and we're gonna go celebrate it, man. But right now we're gonna get into some stuff, man. What's happening? How's everybody doing? Y'all all right?
Yeah, man. I want to welcome everybody to Yah'm saying podcast, man.
Welcome.
Yeah, man. Let's get in it. Anybody that's gonna pay attention, I'm probably chewing over here eating, so don't hold it against me. But I'm a little hungry. Been out and about today. All right. But yeah, man. Hey, let's get into it, man. I'll add the music to it later, but yeah, man. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into the article that we were talking about. John, you want to talk about it, man?
Yeah, first, you want to run through just some of the topics that we're gonna be talking about?
Yeah. We can do that, man. So we're gonna talk about an article, man. An article that talked about it's these things, man, that happen, and black people experience all this passive aggressive stuff. We experience it on social media. We experience it at work. Kids experience it at school. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of passive aggressive stuff that happen. And one of those things is that there's an article that says Black Americans are being priced out of the pandemic real estate boom. And then, of course, somebody had to reply, "Oh, I'm sure their president will bail them out once again, playing the race card. So many places to work, get a job, and work for what you want." You know what I'm saying? So, an article that is actual factual, and we can get into why it's actual factual, because it is actual things that's happening to black people, but really to people in general when it comes to the housing market. So yeah, man. So we're gonna chat about that. We're gonna get into a little bit about Larry Elder. Maybe talking about his race over, and really not his race, but just Larry Elder and people like him. You know what I mean? And get into that. Get into Trevor Noah, and probably gonna get something off my chest about this pandemic or epidemic of ignorance that's going on out here. Especially when it comes to the virus and stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? You can have your own opinion about it, but your opinion should be based in some sort of facts, man. Facts that are easy to find. So we'll get into some of that. And that's what we're gonna do, man. So yeah, man. So let's get into this article, or the reaction to the article. You know what I'm saying? But first, I think we should cover about the issue of housing and the actual problem before we get into that, because I don't want to center bigots. So let's talk about the housing market and what is actually happening out there, and it's not being reported. You know what I mean? And it should be reported out there. Let's jump on that, gentlemen.
All right. You want to tackle this, B, or you
I'll
want
let
me
you
to?
go. I'll let you
Oh,
go.
so my background, I'm a investor in real estate, um, here in South Carolina. So some of the things that I see from the investor side, it was a ruling that came down that they started seeing that some people were being either pushed out of the market. So the National uh, Real Estate Association came up with a ruling that if someone has a showing, um, you cannot cancel that showing. You have to let that person at least see the property, or you will be fined $250 for every 100,000. So what I'm starting to see, or what we're starting to realize as investors, that some of these realtors, because of their friends, their family, you're dealing with people that already had established money, just through families, which was then basically, if they don't know you, you just don't get the real estate deal. Their friend will get it, or someone close to their friend. Um, and of course, it's not said, it's just an act, which means, which takes an investigation to find out, which will never happen. But that's besides the point. Um, but those are one ways that people like me are being priced out, because again, I am just now getting to a financial um stage in my life where I can be able to invest into these properties. Um and it's harder to compete with people that already had that money.
Hmm.
So when we're looking at these things and we're looking at data, where it's it's about race, but it's also about the policies that were in place for years that are now being reconstructed, and then what's coming behind, just the attitudes, or the bigotry that came with, because policies are changing. Um, yeah, that's pretty much where, where I'm at right now. Yeah, you can go shoot your shot, big.
I was saying, I think it is about race. It's always been about race. One, like I think everything is about race. I think everything's about who we are, where we stand in this world, where Black people stand in this world, and where we always stood. And they don't, we they can't let us never get that information and get to a point where um we we establish ourselves that we can start educating ourselves and whatever. I was talking to somebody else. This is off note, like, but it goes in line with what we talking about. I said they will never let Black men as a whole uh get money, get wealth, because
Hmm.
that means we can start taking care of our family. We can start being good in the community, and we like we don't have to. We will have a lot of respect with money, but
Hmm.
on another note, back to what that is, I think it's a bigger agenda going on, and because they 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 know what's about to come. These are a lot of billionaires talking about making these smart cities,
Hmm.
and they trying to they already knowing the plans of where they want these smart cities. Now I think that's where we going at now, and these developers know that, and they said, hey, they can buy us out, or we can help leak gold. That they look, they already planning for the money, and that's why I say I think it's a bigger plan. I think it's like we always late to the plan. Like we think
Hmm.
because like you be in Delaware or we be in South Carolina, we don't, because especially if you don't travel. If you don't travel, you think they just happening here in South Carolina, or whatever's happening is happening in just in your state. But if you're a traveler, you'll go to different places and see they doing the same thing everywhere. You see they kicking out everybody in every project at the same time everywhere. Like you like, damn, they kicking out people here at the projects too. They doing that
Hmm.
in Delaware. Because I remember I was in
Hmm.
Connecticut doing that. They was kicking out Riverside,
Hmm.
and they was
Hmm.
doing, these people in Connecticut, moving them, building houses there. The same thing. That's why I say it's a bigger plan. We just not we just not accepted to the plan. And then these people, like, they go to their I'm just gonna wrap it up. They go to their when they go to the board meetings, and people that's on like city council, their friends, oh, they about to build a Walmart over here. You should, they'll go, oh, they about to build a
Hmm.
Walmart over there. Let me buy that land over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't know this information. We ain't accepted to that
Well,
information.
go ahead, John.
Yeah, because
Right.
he touched on two really important things, right?
Hmm.
And I'm going to start from the end point. You pointed out black uh, participation in these kind of things, man. Like we don't show up. We
Hmm.
don't show up to school board meetings. We don't show up to community meetings. We don't do the things that we need to do to stay informed. And then the second part was that you said in the earlier conversation, you were saying something about that they're doing this from state to state, right?
Hmm.
So in this whole real estate game, they have these meetings and these groups, right?
Hmm.
And it's like a club. It's like a real club. And when I go into those spaces, I don't see nobody like me.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I might see it might be someone that may be Latino and mixed white.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but they won't be like just Latino or
Hmm.
they, not black. They would just be either mixed and that kind of dynamic. Um, and I'm not like trying to be like a colorist, but the thing of it is here what I've seen in South Carolina, man, like the mindset of some
Hmm.
people
Hmm. Hmm.
is because you want to fit into some groups, you conform to the group.
Hmm.
Um, and that also plays into markets. And that I see here in South Carolina, and which caused me as an investor to be pushed out because nobody really know me. Um,
Hmm.
even though they know my realtor, but at the end of the day, he's only going to vouch for me but so much when it comes to other
Right.
people that he really can align with.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and a lot of this is tied to old money, man. You know what I mean? Like when people talk about like all the wealthy millionaires, people focus too much on the Bezos of the world and the Walmart family of the world. You know what I'm saying? When there's local millionaires that keep uh old money, you know what I'm saying? They keep old money going, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, uh they keep old money there, you know what I'm saying? And like y'all are saying, the reason we seem a step behind is because we're not participating. We are not participating in the political process where a lot of these things happen. We are being and a lot and there are a lot of people that look like us that are telling us not to participate in the
Mhm.
political process, right? So, so it seems like we're a step behind, but these individuals, man, I got an echo. But it seems like these individuals are they want you to help, but they really don't. You know what I'm saying? They don't they're not trying to help the black community, right? They're only trying to help themselves. You know what I'm saying? So me and John, we've been a part of several of the caucus meetings and things of that nature, and that becomes apparent that there aren't enough people who look like us who are participating in these meetings when they happen, like you're saying, John. And we need to be more active in the political arena, telling people that, hey, man, look, you can, be a part of the process in some sort of way. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because we see it across the country. Like Brian's saying, we see it across the country where the issue is a lot of these people have money on hand, like you're saying, John. So,
Mhm.
as I was explaining it, there's a house that costs $150,000. You got three people who bid on a house up to 175,000. Then somebody comes in and they put in the house 230,000. Well, guess who gets the house? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That person at 230,000. Now, these individuals that are trying to get this house, they could be first time home buyers, right?
Hmm.
First time home buyers, but they're being priced out by somebody who has money on hand. And I read another article where they are actually building developments and creating a rental development, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
of houses.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's all going to come to a head there. The bubble's going to pop,
But
man. You know what I'm
no,
saying?
but that's what, because it's an orchestrated bubble. That's where they want it to go. Like London already have rental properties. People can't even buy own places no more. They're gonna be renting for life, and that's where America going. You ain't gonna be able to. You ain't even gonna be able to own it anymore. You're gonna be renting for life. The way that they about to set stuff up. That's why I say in these smart cities, Google smart cities, and these billionaires making smart cities. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, all trying to make smart cities. You ain't gonna be able to own nothing.
Hmm.
You're gonna be renting. You're gonna be renting for the rest of your life. And then
Hey,
just like
go
our
ahead. I'm
last
sorry.
podcast,
Oh,
no,
we
no,
most definitely got to get to this comment. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, just like our last like our other podcast, what's gonna be work in the future for people?
Hmm. So,
That we, after this crash, and if we go into another shutdown, it's gonna kill the middle class. It's gonna kill over the middle class. What's gonna be work?
Okay.
so, so this is what we're dealing with right now in the big fight with Joe Biden, right? Um, there is monies that he's trying to really put forth for these same scenarios. But when you look at the data, it's showing more minorities are moving to rural areas.
They're being pushed out.
Th- Right, they're being pushed out,
Hmm.
but also there is a high portion that are moving out because it's just a cheaper and better option.
It's cost of living. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
cost of
It's
living.
cost of living. That's why a lot of people are moving to the South, man.
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
to. I want to get to this. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
You're
cut
good.
you off. Yeah, I want to get to this question by Jerome. He brought up a good point. You know what I mean? Because another part of the conversation, I don't know if we'll get there, but we most definitely need to talk about it, is climate change and how climate change is affecting poor people in a lot of these areas. You know what I'm saying? So he said, so race, when the flood happened, it only seemed as if it happened around the poorer parts around Wilmington. Do y'all think in a way that it was a way for for people of lower income to be pushed out, and later the area would cause for gentrification, or do you think it was just a natural cause? I think it was just a natural cause. It's just a natural cause. But however, in American history, if you read about American history, there are towns where there look up black communities underwater. There are
Mhm.
towns in America that were built that are underwater, under lakes. One of them is in Arizona. Another one is in Washington. And these were black communities. They knew they put these
Georgia.
black people. Georgia, yeah, in Georgia. They put these black communities in these areas where they knew it was going to flood. And eventually it flooded and it killed a whole bunch of black people. You know what I mean? And eventually they just made it a lake. So these things do happen. You know what I mean? We see it in New Orleans. Like, if anybody's ever been to New Orleans, if anybody's ever been to New Orleans, then you see the how a lot of areas around there that was destroyed, that got built up. You know what I'm saying? It gentrified. It pushed a lot of people out. Those people who left can't come back because they can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it is natural causes, but a lot of it is people do take advantage of it, and that's what another issue that we talk about that Republicans seem to stop talking about was the opportunity zones. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And opportunity zones, and why there are opportunity zones and things of that nature. But we can come back to that. I want to filibuster the time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. So after watching the flooding on the east side, right, or the northeast side, um, it had since I was a little kid. I remember, water, always rising up on that side of town. That has always been a thing. Now, how much? It has never been that bad. Um, but if you know Wilmington's 25-year plan, you will know that the first place that they're trying to gentrify is the northeast side.
It's northeast side.
Yeah. So this is why they went into, you first got to get rid of the Thunder Guard. You got to then, um start moving out the projects, which I think they're now complete. So they're now building back there towards the projects now,
Wow.
and that's all going to start spilling over to the east side. Which, if you know what's going on the east side, they have literally blocks for sale where a house is 30,000. It's like five houses in a row, 30,000.
Mm.
But if you understand who's going to come in there and
Who's gonna come in there
redevelop
and buy
that,
it? Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it won't be
Mm-hmm.
African Americans, even though they have like programs like the Patch of Land and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. But I think it caps off at like 125 or something like that. So it's low income, but how many people, if you understand the wage uh, gaps in the wage inequality in Wilmington, which if you look into the data, what it shows is that I think it's about 47% of Wilmington
Mm-hmm.
literally makes less than 30,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. So then they can't afford that area.
They
So
can't
who
afford it.
who else gonna afford it? You know.
Yeah, you talking about a city that's what I think it's like 63% black,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you got 40% of people that are living under 30, and then you got like 20 something percent that has felonies.
Mm.
So when you start doing this math, none of these people are going to be able to buy none of these homes.
Right. 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 And that was the whole. I guess I'll get into it. The whole issue with the opportunity zones.
Mm.
Cause what, and you notice there's no data for opportunity. But I'm gonna go ahead, Brian. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go ahead and chime in.
I think I'm just going. I want to say things. I ain't gonna go that far, but I have to kind of. I want to throw something out there. I'm not saying well, I want to say I was kind of intrigued about this and believe in it, but down here in South Carolina when we had a flood, it's these white people are suing uh the STNG and a bunch of people for because they let go the levees so it can flood it so it won't go downtown and flood USC, and it
Mm.
flooded other people's like other
Mm-hmm.
people's neighborhood instead of flooding downtown. And usually downtown flood real bad, but
But downtown's
it
where
didn't
the money
flood.
at.
Yeah, but it didn't flood that time because they
Mm-hmm.
decided to let the levees whatever. But if you look up right now, it's a lawsuit, class action lawsuit against SCNG for letting the levees whatever to go into these neighborhoods and flood them out. So that's one thing. And then if you understand how the person said is this was this weather controlled. All right, let me just say these things. All right. So back in the day, dude from Venezuela said the US caused them earthquakes and tsunamis in Japan and different places. They thought, and he called US the devil. People laughed at him, said America cannot control, nobody can control the weather. Nobody can be God. They laughed at him. So uh Afghanistan, Iran president said when they caused a drought in Iran that they won't get no rain for a long time. People laughed at him, thought that nobody can control the weather. So let's go to Dubai. Dubai just paused their rain there because they couldn't get no rain for a minute. So they
Because
used
they
the
couldn't
heart
get
weapon.
rain. Yeah.
They used the heart weapon. It's called H is
I
a
don't think they
heart
call it
weapon.
a heart weapon.
Yeah,
It's
They call
heart.
it something else. Yeah.
no,
Yeah. They
no,
call
the
it
It's
United,
called
something else. But
no, the United States is called HARP. Theirs is
heart.
called something else.
Yeah,
yeah,
China
there's
own
called
it.
something else.
Yeah, China own it. Different countries own this technology. So when they used it and caused their thing to rain, nobody calls that crazy. Nobody said that's crazy. Like uh But when here in America we cause it crazy. Like when people say, "Oh, you making it rain," like you can make an earthquake. Even the scientist that created said he caused the earthquake by accident.
Yeah, but none of that, none of that has been like. I get it, man. Like, look, we can create rain. We
All
can
right,
there is what's that? Smart water. That's what
yes,
smart water is, right? So
all
they have a facility where they create clouds and they create rain. You know
right.
what I'm saying? But as far as earthquakes thing,
Hold,
yeah, man,
let me
I
get on
don't
my
know,
point.
man.
Let me. I
Yeah,
mean, we can debate that
or
after
or creating
no, I'm
hurricanes and
saying
stuff. Yeah, man, I don't
after
know,
I
man.
debate. I mean, we can debate that after I say this last thing. All right, thing happened to Haiti. Why Dominican and Republican didn't have an earthquake then? And they right there.
Because it depend because of where they sit out on the
It
fault
was a.
line,
I mean,
like that.
look. I mean, look how like no, like even people
Like
in like
it's
even
huge. It's a huge
I was
piece of
in
land,
Vegas one
man.
time. I was in Vegas one time when California had an earthquake, and you felt it in
hmm
Vegas. And the island of Dominican Republic and Haiti is not that big. It's like the size of Delaware.
But I'm saying that they probably felt it in DR, but the most where Haiti sits at, it caused the most damage. So it's like
Well,
in Japan, like in
Puerto Rico on that same what's the name that same fault line.
nah, I don't.
No,
Yeah, I don't think
no,
so.
that Puerto Rico's not on the same
I don't
fault
think
line.
so. I don't think they're on the same fault line.
So,
But yeah, go ahead, John.
so you're right in a sense, right? That technology exists, but the problem with the theory is that every time something happens, you can't put that theory into play. So
Yeah.
it was a actual hurricane that was literally going from um you know
What's the name?
from
It was
Louisiana.
it was
Louisiana
yeah, it's going.
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
same anniversary
Well, that doesn't matter because we're in hurricane season. So
It's
so
hurricane season. Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
hurricane
So
season. Again, like you can't apply those theories in every moment because there are realities, right? And this is the hard thing that people have with information is we we disbelieve in our government so much
you should.
that we just we believe everything is tied to some kind of like crazy stuff, and it's not to dismiss, is more or less like our government has been doing some crazy stuff.
And they have the technology. See,
Yeah,
the thing
yeah.
is they have
yeah,
they have all right. They have this machine that can put a frequency. It's called a crowd disperser. They'll
Hmm.
send a microwave wavelength at you that can make your body feel like it's melting inside,
Hmm.
and then it's called a crowd disperser. These they got so much tech. The dude with Darfa said they 50 years ahead of us on technology. And if you
Which
look
they
at your
always have,
phone,
yeah.
I mean, but
no, 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 no,
they're
no, no,
always
no,
are,
no, no.
man.
That ain't the problem. No, I'm saying that just imagine 50 years of technology by your phone. Like if 50, use your phone and say 50 years in technology. You see how fast your phone going? How fast your phone is,
So
right?
I'm gonna make this comment, then we're gonna move off of this. Is that so the F-22 is considered one of the most
Yeah.
sophisticated planes ever. It's gonna take other countries like 10 or 20 years to catch up to it. That was developed in the 90s. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? That was developed in the 80s. I'm sorry. That was
No,
developed in the
I'm
80s.
gonna say
It didn't come out to the 2000s. So the government by way of the military is going to
it,
have unlimited resources to do that. But I want to bring the
no, hold up.
conversation back
No, I'm saying
to
no. I'm just gonna say this one thing. But if and that plane that you just said, they had a technology since the 50s though.
yeah. I mean they built on technology. They built on
No,
the
I'm saying
jet
that
technology
I'm
from the
talking the
50s, from the
technology they was
60s. That's
using
how.
on that plane was
Right.
50s.
That's what I'm saying. That's how technology worked. They just build on it. All they did was just make smaller parts smaller, smarter parts smarter, and then that's how you get the F-22. I mean, that's technology. That's just how technology is.
That
So
that's the UFOs you thought you were seeing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I,
Like people
Well,
thought they
I
were
don't know,
seeing.
man. Yeah, I don't.
no, no.
Look,
Well,
I said that
we
I
will
mean
get there.
them planes, that technology was the UFOs that they thought they were seeing because it was
No,
so
no.
far ahead.
Yeah, we I, I agree. We are at that cuff, right there.
mm, yeah.
But again, when we're talking about issues, we can't constantly always tie these things to every um oh man, because I hate using this word, man,
To
because I
every
know it's misused. Um like so for conversation's sake, I'm gonna say conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Um so we can't take every conspiracy and try to plug it in every situation, right? Because that's the
I'm for that.
problem. What's that?
I say I'm for that. I'm for that.
Yeah, yeah. And like the situation with Wilmington, um, that wasn't a conspiracy issue. That was just simply because the Gulf of Mexico, you're dealing with one of the Gulfs that's heating up tremendously fast, and which whenever you have a large body of water, keep in mind I was not good in social studies, let alone in school, period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned all of this stuff after.
No, John froze. Oh, he froze. All right, so I'm gonna let him come back in. But I'll say that with a lot of these issues, man, we got, like we we have to focus our issue on the issues at hand, on the facts at hand. The fact of the matter is that poor people in areas of Wilmington, poor peoples in these areas, was harmed by this storm. So that those are the facts, and bringing up other things that aren't connected to that, it distracts. What I mean, we get distracted, and we don't focus on the facts. Yes, I'm not. Look, the government of the United States has not been kind to peoples around the world. You know what I'm saying? So that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that when we're talking about these issues and a lot of these factual issues, then we got to kind of just stay the course on that. You know what I'm saying? And understand that there are facts, there are things we can fix. You know what I'm saying? There's reality and there's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Your truth is going to always be different than someone else's, but your reality can't. The reality can't. You know what I'm saying? The reality is there was a flood. It caused damage. People are out of their homes. Hopefully they had probably didn't have flood insurance in a lot of these places, so now they can't repair themselves. So what is it that we need to do, and what is it that we need to do to fix it? You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need to do.
But 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 uh but to get on what John said, like John said, you shouldn't put everything to a conspiracy. Like everything shouldn't be a conspiracy. My thing is when it comes to conspiracy is when people talked about something, they talked about doing something or getting a certain land or a certain thing, and something happened to happen that like out of this world happened, and that they happen to attain that land after people get off that land and start doing what they wanted to do. Like that's when some things like, all right, you gotta look at it a little different. When
Yeah,
they
yeah.
put it in, go ahead.
No, man, no, because I'm not, I'm agreeing, right? So, it's an old saying in politics: never let a disaster go to
Yeah,
waste.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, this is what births conspiracies
Hmm.
is people take reality and then create their own truths.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is where the problem lies at, because at the end of the day, it never allows you to really deal with the reality, because you're so much going around in a circle on the truth.
because that's what it's supposed to do. Because you know what, you know the problem is we having, and the problem we having with different things. Some of these people on spiritual levels doing something. Like they'll do something. Like your government will say like they'll say they don't believe in they don't believe in like some things they don't believe like, but they'll put funding toward finding the ark or the God gene. They'll put money into like that colonial thing they doing in what's the name? They trying to be find the God gene and recreate it. But that's what I'm saying. You got these people are on a whole nother level than we are. So when you even trying to even like some of the stuff you ain't even gonna make no sense to you. It ain't gonna be factual. You like because it's not in this realm where they working at on their mind
But
frame at. That's go ahead.
but I think what John's getting at is that in this conversation right now, right? We started off talking
Mhm.
about housing, and then we ended up talking about you know
Yeah, go
HARP weapons
flooding.
and all these other things. You know what I'm saying? When the reality is that there are people with money, no matter how we believe what money is or how money is used, there are people with money who are pushing black people from buying homes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like there's a time and a place
yeah,
to talk about the heart
but
weapon and
yeah,
of course we had a conversation about
but that
natural causes and stuff like that. And a lot of these natural causes is because of climate change. It's not because some government agency has some sort of weapon. They don't need weapons. We're the weapons that they're using is these corporations who are not taking care of the environment. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's
but why
causing
they think
issues. It's heating up
then
the earth and causing
all right,
causing damage in a way. You know what I'm saying? So
all
we
right,
just we uh huh.
then why all right, just like the Hillary Clinton and them. They say one thing and then they'll go to South America and let companies damage the property there. It ain't about it. They they know what they doing. They know what they causing. They got I don't know. That's a whole nother subject. We can't even
So no,
come
no,
up.
no, 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 right?
Go ahead. It's like
So the
they
tie,
speak two ways out their mouth.
right, right. So to tie this conversation in, right? It's the same language, but again, you if you see how what you were saying and Tay is saying and I am saying is missing the mark. But
Yeah,
it's missing the mark because we're worried about something that is totally out of our control compared to something that can be in our control. And what's in our control is it's people in a flood as of now or days ago that they need help, that they are then being pushed out by our government instruments, which means policies, because they have allowed corporations through policy to not do their American duty to participate into helping citizens. But we're worrying about something way down the line.
not I
Yeah,
get
and
what you
and I think
I
that
get
we
what you
can we
and
can take that in the we could
I
take that in the. Go ahead, Brian.
I get what you saying and I get because and I get what that person saying because that person saying the same. It don't got it got something to do with what we guys doing, but it's for a whole nother conversation. Cause that's the same thing I'm saying about these smart cities who they got. Like that's why you seeing the problem we having now. The problem we like with the housing market and all that, and the land that they taking. They taking a bunch of land. They telling farmers this the burn to not sell half their food. The government paying the farmers not to even sell their food or put their food into sale. Like it's a lot of things going on that is is the ripple effect in what we seeing. And that's what I'm saying. It's on a whole nother level. And we on one level, but we not seeing there like agenda 21 and agenda 30. Like
I
Guy,
get, I think I get
gentlemen,
what
Yeah,
you're
that
saying.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
you're
I
saying,
I'm
get what you're
saying,
saying. Go ahead, John. Go ahead, John.
yeah, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you're saying is, even though the flood happened, right? The
hmm
problem with especially us black people and Latino people and those people, indigenous people, those people that tend to be in poverty a lot more than other groups. We always are in the now, that
yeah,
we are not able to plan ahead for the flood situation,
yeah, and
for to let alone even have insurance. But then we kind of getting into a thing like now you're talking about minimum wage. Now it's a whole bunch of
but
things that got
Yeah,
to turn
that's what
for
I say. Like
that
Shante,
reality.
not to cut you off, Shante, but I'm going to just like you, like why we don't come to we. Most people probably want to come to events, but they got to work 2, 3 jobs. They keep us in that rat circle that we keep chasing, that we can't even be involved over here because you gotta you got to figure out how you're going to pay your rent. You got to have 2 jobs, and if you ask for off again because you already asked for off because your daughter was sick, you might get fired. So that stuff little to you, like, oh, that I can't afford that. I can't even go there. So we on a whole nother. They keep us going in a whole nother world. That like a thing that they push us over here that we got to be worried about something different, that we can't even focus on what's really going on. Like what's the real plan?
yeah, but I say that the whatever the focus is, it has to be focused, right? Because I don't think that worrying about a heart weapon doing something to another country that's not a
Oh,
concern to.
I was
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
but I'm just trying to say that, you know what I'm saying, like that's not a concern to the regular everyday 8 to 5, 9 to 5 person, like you're saying, who has to work 2 jobs and things of that
Mhm.
nature. You know what I mean? But what is
And I'm
important,
saying to
right?
the
And when
point
we're
that like
talking about climate change, hold on for a second. When we're talking about, these issues and the flood area that happened in Wilmington, Delaware, now you're talking about an area where people probably didn't have to buy flood insurance. So now they probably got to buy flood insurance now. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Because of these natural disasters that are happening. And a lot of it is connected to climate change. And we as black people that needs to be on our agenda as well, is climate change. You know what I'm saying? Because it does affect us. It does push us out of these neighborhoods. It does push us out of the community. I mean, you had like a
wait,
million people who left because of Katrina, and they never went back, right? They never went back, and if they even try to go back, they can't afford to live there. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta make sure that we are getting, black people focused on the issues that they can control, and that they can see right in front of them. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
well, to add to your thing, if we start paying flood insurance, we barely can pay our mortgage because people just paying for the mortgage. So you get like HOAs. People don't even they get into these communities, forget about the HOAs, and barely got a money. They only got the money for mortgage. Then now that's how they get kicked out of these HOAs communities because they ain't paying their HOA, and if
Or
you
they
can't
didn't
pay
make
your
sure the
HOA,
HOA was tied into their mortgage.
yeah,
They was
yeah, I'm
paying
saying,
through their
yeah, you
mortgage.
don't.
Yeah.
No, your realtor ain't talking to you. They just trying to get you into this darn thing. And then if you get flood going to increase your mortgage,
Hmm.
and you like, all right, I could afford this, but I can't afford that. So when they get in there, it's going to set them up to lose anyway. It's the high percentage of people that get first home buyers that lose their house that we ain't
But
talking
that's
about.
where
Me,
we have to focus the conversation, right? So we have to
hmm
focus the conversation on wages, right? We have to focus the conversation because right now the unemployment rate for black people went up from 8.2 to 8.8. And so people will spin it as, oh, like that bigot did in that comment, oh, black people just need to get jobs. It's not that black people need to get jobs. These black people want better high paying jobs, right?
Mhm.
The high paying jobs aren't paying, right? And the issues that we're having, that we're seeing today. And I'm reading a book called I don't know if I got this book right here, When Work Disappears. I talk about this book often. You know what I mean? When Work Disappears, it was written in 1997, and it talked about how the globalization combined with automation pushed a lot of high paying union jobs out, and outsourced them to other countries, you know what I'm saying? And what happened was a lot of these high paying union jobs were then replaced by service jobs. Well, we all know the service jobs don't pay. And like you're saying, Brian, they don't give you time off. They don't give you health care. You know what I'm saying? And so America subsidize, as Americans, as taxpayers, we subsidize these corporations or these service jobs. You know what I'm saying? But then, you got people who can't afford the rent now. You know what I'm saying? So the issue is that we don't have black people who show up to vote. Number one, during election years, you know what I mean. Number two, we don't have black people to show up to city council meetings, to show up to, to be participate in their political party for whatever reason, and we don't have black people who actually who pay attention more to what the celebrities are doing than what their mayor
Mm,
is doing. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So people are worried about the next damn Marvel movie that come out, and your mayor just okayed for Walmart to come into the town. You know what I mean? And replace all the mom and pop shops, all the mom and pop jobs gone. You know what I'm saying?
We
Because
we say they out there doing the cart challenge.
yeah,
Texas out there passing laws to restrict everything.
to restrict everything. Texas passed 666 laws.
Yeah,
But
And
that get
to create a fascist government that black people live under. You know what I'm
but that
saying? So
that
those are
go
the
back.
things that we need to be talking about. You know what I'm saying? But it's been done because black people don't show up. They don't show up and vote for the librarian, don't show up and vote for the coroner, don't show up and vote for the sheriff, don't show up and vote for the superintendent, don't show up and vote for all these little
That go back to
offices. You know what I'm
media.
saying? To make sure that we have representation, proper representation. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, a lot of these things are connected, but it's focused. We can do the things that we can focus on. We should focus on that. You know what I'm saying? And do that. But yeah,
yeah. We in our community, man, bro. We ain't got time to sit back and focus on no heart.
yeah,
We got bills to pay. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like we got to get past all the other stuff. It's just like when I hear like some of the brothers that be like, "Oh, I don't understand why black people just don't go out and go start a business." Man, how we gonna start a business and you barely making $7 an hour on
right,
average
right,
as a group?
right.
Cause, cause they show us that we spend trillions of dollars. So is the money there?
Again, this is the misinformation, right? The
Hmm.
reason why we spend millions of dollars or billions of dollars is because we are always in constant need.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
So,
talking.
so
No,
again, that is misinformation
no. I'm
that
talking
people
about
take that and they don't understand the dynamics of that whole process.
I'm talking about in the beauty and clothes. We spend so much money in beauty and clothes, like hair,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
for
yeah,
one
Yeah.
thing, we have the money. We just we just
It's what
like
we spend on. It's like
we
America,
like
right? It's like
we don't have
America.
nobody to back us. We don't
yeah.
have like a Marcus Garvey to say, hey, we want to back that Marcus Garvey
Oh, we can
thing
talk
he
about
doing.
Marcus Garvey.
No, I'm just
I don't
saying
know
like
if you want.
no, I'm
Me and
saying
John had
I
a
know
conversation earlier about
no, I know
Marcus
what he was
Garvey.
doing. I know what he was doing,
Hmm.
and if you want to get it segue into what you was going to say about the people they put into what's name, because the person that was on his boat was getting paid by the FBI.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was say like I know it goes
Hmm.
into what trying to tell you, and that people get
Hmm.
placed into positions and to play people organization where we second way into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, man. This is so yeah, that was the last comment. So we're gonna go into part two, man, and do part two of this. But I'll say, to end that last conversation, man, about how these bigots come into play, man, because we really didn't touch on that. But these bigots that come into play, and when there are real issues that harm black people, what I mean, like this issue of housing, you always got these bigots who come in and who feel they need to further the harm. You know what I mean? like it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? We seen it during the civil rights movement. We seen it after Civil War, and things like that. I listened to a podcast from Kimberly Crenshaw. She the one coined the phrase intersectionality under critical race theory, and she was talking about how each time black people had progress, the progress is shorter than the backlash. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
so progress is enslaved, Africans becoming American, right? Then the backlash to that was Jim Crow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have civil rights, right? Civil rights, black people finally get civil rights. Well, we had civil rights with the 15th Amendment. Then we readdressed civil rights in the late 1800s, and then we readdressed civil rights in 1960, 65, and 68. But then the backlash is where we are now, where all this anti-CRT stuff, all this voting rights stuff, all this obstruction into the infrastructure bill, so that black people can get well-paying jobs, or just people in general. But more importantly, black people in a lot of these areas can get jobs. So, these bigots that comment, make the comments, they're doing so. To disrupt, you know what I mean? And of course, we can talk about the black disruptors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they're a bigger problem.
Yeah, the black disruptors are most definitely a bigger problem. And we're talking about like Larry Elder, Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, the Minstrel Show, and the Hodge Twins, and Diamond and Silk, and on and on and on. Like the list go on, and that's not even touching the surface on when you get into talking about these people, these individuals on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And even to a point, Tariq Nasheed is a disruptor, man. Tariq
Mm-hmm.
Nasheed is a disruptor, man. That's what he is. You know what I'm saying?
What happens when you
And
take white supremacy money?
that's what happens, man. That's what happens, man. And every once in a while, I like to listen to Salam Alam Islam Riza Islam. I forget his
Yeah,
name,
yeah.
but sometimes he's a disruptor. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of disruptors that look like us. You know what I'm saying? That are trying to stop progress. And the one thing that we talked about is these individuals, using the government, right? You can't have so much distrust in the government. The reason that there is distrust in the government is so that other people can use the government as a tool, as a mechanism for their wealth. You know what I mean? Jeff Bezos wouldn't have made money during the pandemic had it not been for lobbyists who went to Trump to create the tax, change the tax code so that he can make billions of dollars, right? Jeff Bezos recently became a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? And on, all these millionaires. And like Joe Biden said the other day, all these millionaires who made money during the pandemic when people was losing money. You know what I'm saying? These individuals use the government as a tool to make money. You know what I'm saying? And we have to have that same mindset. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Why you end off that
He
way,
made money
bro? Because
doing
I'm,
it.
my bad, my
because
bad.
like, look,
I'm gonna
because
say he made
I
money
gotta
doing it.
say it. I gotta say it because you end that way. Look, it was designed to be the way that it was, and the fight right now is trying to tear that down.
That the government should stay the way it is. I'm saying that
No, no,
the mechanism of government, black people should use it as a tool.
no. I was not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, man, the context, man, that people have to understand. What we have seen was for over 70 years, we have seen the peak of what they have designed the government to be. This is why Jeff Bezos became who he was, and Elon Musk and those guys, because rich people from 70 years ago, I want to say 75 really, um, have used the government to become richer. And it's just using policy, using your friends in high places to move certain things. Jeff Bezos have sued the government over 4 5 times, just between this year and last year. because he didn't get the contract.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you have to, man. You gotta we gotta think about these kind of things. And again, man, we can't be so laser focused that I guess I gotta say, like, we don't have the luxury to be laser focused 5, 10, 20 years down the road. We don't have that luxury. We
Right.
always
Right.
are in the now.
And which we have to, like, our generation has always been in the now. Like, when you go back to slavery, you go back to Jim Crow, just trying to conquer what was happening on a day-to-day basis, you know what I'm saying? And we've never gotten out of that moment, you know what I'm saying? And because people got to remember, man, the United States government was designed for rich, wealthy white men. That's what
Mm.
it was designed. That's what it was created for. The only people they wanted to vote was wealthy white men who had power, who had money.
Land.
That was it. That's who they wanted to vote, or wanted to maintain the power and the wealth. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until black people become, or Africans become American. You know what I'm saying, that the people who was using government now use the government against, against people. You know what I'm saying? Even though, colonial times were using government against, Africans as well. But, in our American government, we're using, we allowed these people to get in office because of the distrust in government, and not understanding that these same individuals who get in office, they don't trust government either. But guess what they do? They run for office. The same individuals who don't trust government, they vote people in office. I hear it
Mm.
every day on the conservative radio.
Mm.
They
Twitter
don't
tag.
trust government so much that they vote people in the office.
Twitter tag.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
but
crazy. It's crazy, man. You
they
know.
vote people in the office, but the people that get in the office that want to change, they go in there pull for. See, they ain't the government ain't the people is the problem that can lobby the government and change your vote. That's the problem. Rich people lobbying is the problem in government.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, but they use government as a tool, right? They use government as a tool
Yeah, but we
to
don't got
get
that
what
money.
they
We don't got
want.
that money to. If the person we voted for can get changed by money, your vote. That means your vote ain't nothing. That means you need money. That means money. You need money to even keep your person right.
No, I think
Like the
that
way you. I'm
that
saying.
you have to that people have to vote these people out, right? The problem is that it's not that the person has money. Yeah, that we vote that person in, they change within 4 years. The problem
Mm,
is that people automatically reelect these people. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem.
yeah.
Instead of replacing that person, you know what I mean? Showing that, hey, man, the power does exist in voting. The power does exist in people voting. But the problem is that we reelect people over and over again, and they don't have to do nothing. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? She's doing nothing. She's doing nothing but raising money. She's not doing nothing. There's another Republican, Cawthorn. This man has done nothing. He's
Yeah,
doing
rapist,
nothing but raising money. So what
rapist
should what
activity.
should those people do? They should
Oh,
vote them out.
whatever they got for their because
So,
they're constricted with their region. Like
so,
they was talking about I was not to get off, but they was talking about how some of these black um um people in politics have majority white people that voted them in there. So when people say you're not doing that for the people, they be like, you're not my people. My
Right.
people are the white people that voted me in my area. You know what
And
I'm
that's how it
saying?
should
So
be.
that would say that, and they be black though. You know what I'm saying? The black, the
But
person
that's
that's
how it
in
should be. If
black.
a
Yeah,
majority
yeah,
of
yeah. I'm
white
saying,
people
yeah,
voted them
yeah,
in, then they should be
yeah,
listening to their constituents. You know
yeah.
what I'm
That's
saying?
what I'm saying. But
It doesn't
people
matter. It
will look
doesn't
at it like,
matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
yeah, I'm saying like, well, people be looking at it like, well, she black or he black,
Hmm.
and then we doing it for their people, but not knowing that, hey, their whole residency is majority white
Right.
that voted them in, so they got to do what they want them to do.
Right.
so I got to chime in. So both of you guys, like, listening to y'all, man, y'all both was right. Both things can be right, right?
Mhm.
About campaign funding. So the the dynamic is, yeah, people need to vote people out, and we don't have a legislative law that give them term limits. We don't have that.
Yeah.
Then on the flip side, 87% of people that that that's running, they have, when they raise money, they win the race almost 93% of the time. So when you take that number, 87% of candidates, whenever they raise money, they win the race 93% of the time. So money is the key factor. We talked about this Tay, between Nina Turner race. She ran out of money,
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
and that was the steam that she needed at the back end, and she couldn't compete with the money. Um, but if you look at the races like Lindsey Graham and what's the gentleman's name?
Oh,
Uh,
you talking about Jamie Harrison?
Jamie Harrison. That was the top race that spent the most money in the whole entire
Spent the
nation.
most money. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
trying to place Lindsay.
yeah. But if you look at when the money came in for Jamie, so the money didn't come in the beginning of Jamie's race when it needed to.
Nah, it needs
So
to
at
come
least,
in at the end. That's what happened to Nina. Her
so
money didn't
so
come in towards the end.
no, right, right. But let's listen to the breakdown, right? Because again, this is something that people have to understand, that both things can be true. So people didn't even know who he was in the beginning when he ran. So when it got mid race and people were like, "Oh, well, who is this guy?" He was then starting to raise money, but you're already in the thick of things, and they already know who Lindsey Graham is. Yeah, he had the money. Jameson had the money on the back end, but the point was the name notoriety wasn't there, and that's why he needed the money in the beginning, statewide. And Nina Turner was facing something different, where she needed the money on the back end because that wasn't a statewide race.
Yeah, but there are other instances of AOC Jamal
Bowman.
I forget his name. Yeah, Jamal Bowman, Corey Bush. There's other instances where people didn't raise a lot of money and they still won their race against titans. You know what I'm saying? Against career politicians. So that's the camp. You know what I'm saying? Like even in the Lindsey Graham, even in the race with Jamie Harrison, Lindsey Graham, Jamie Harrison he lost by 200,000 votes.
Yeah.
Of that 200,000 people weren't either didn't vote
Hmm.
or weren't registered to vote. And then the other 50,000 people, couldn't vote for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
it does come down to
And the
people and
machine,
and
add the
power. Go ahead.
machines down here.
What's
Yeah,
that?
but
Add the machines that was acting up around here.
Oh
well,
no, man. Yeah,
but again,
yeah. I
uh,
don't know.
what Tay, what you saying? This, what I'm saying, didn't come from just me. It came literally from data. That came from data. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but it's components. It's one thing working with other things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, that's how it works, right? But we were talking about when people get voted in and then lobbyists pay them versus campaigning and money spending. Those are two different things. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I was addressing the once somebody get in office and then a lobbyist pays them. That's what me and Brian was talking about.
Yeah.
But there is the campaigning aspect of that. Yeah, money spent, and you should spend your money at the end of towards the end of the campaign because Americans have short attention spans. So if you spend money in the beginning of the campaign and you ain't got enough money to remind Americans to go vote, you're gonna lose them. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
For we do got short attention spans. You know what I'm saying? Look how quick people forgot about Afghanistan. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is.
We had to go back
But
to work.
huh?
I said we had to go back to work.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like people just forget about stuff like that, man, and and in politics, you know, um, these are disruptors like Larry Elder. They cause harm to the black community, man. They do cause harm because, well, I seen a post by Tariq Nasheed saying, something like the Democrats ain't done nothing for black people, which again, it's a blanket statement, right? That has
Mm-hmm.
no context, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there'll be black people like, yeah, you right, you show right, but
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have any context, right? And he can do that because people trust him for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying, on politics, even though he say he don't vote, but he's always commenting on politics. It's like he always commenting about Little Nas X. I think he in the cloud. He's in denial. But
Oh man, come on, don't do that.
yeah,
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
I'm
I
just
Don't
know.
do that.
saying, dog. I'm
Yeah, I
just
know,
saying,
but
That's
don't
whole
do
man.
that.
that's a
Don't.
whole nother
No,
thing.
I'm
yeah,
just
don't
saying,
do
man.
that.
I'm just
I know
saying,
that's a
a
whole
man
nother
I
that a
thing.
know,
man
but
that
Tariq,
comment like that much. I'm just saying
Nah,
that man
nah.
he comment way too much about he would comment way too much about another
Hold on.
man's
Let,
sexuality.
let me hit this. Let me just hit that for a minute
Mm-hmm.
because it goes on what we was talking about in our last
Mm-hmm.
thing about media. Like he understands it just like Bootsy understands. If you he ain't talking, even though he's a 20-something-year-old man, he's talking to 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 13-year-olds. Why
Mm.
are you telling 9-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 8-year-olds, even my daughter listen to him. Why are you talking to him like that? Why are you
But
being
it's no
sexuality?
different than when we were listening
But
than when young people were listening to LL or Two Live Crew.
yeah,
It's
but
no
it went
different.
blatant. Do you
Is
know what
no
no, no,
different.
no, no, it wasn't as blatant. Do you know two buildings in a cookie bag? Did you know what that mean when you was young?
no,
Two
hell
buil-
no.
like a pink cookies
But
in
it's
the cookie jar.
still
I
but
mean,
but the
did you know what that mean?
visualization of it though.
No, I'm saying,
No, I ain't.
Yeah. I mean, I think
I could.
I
I
mean,
couldn't
nobody
visualize.
do it.
You know what I
All right,
visualized? I visualized two cookies
cookies
in a
and what's
plastic
what's
bag.
all right.
I ain't
This this
visualized nothing
look,
else.
when
Come on, man.
Belle
Let's
this
Biv
not
the last
play
thing
this
I'm
DeVoe
saying.
game.
This is the last thing I'm saying.
sang "Do Me Baby," everybody
Hold
knew
up,
what they
hold
were
up.
talking about.
Well,
This
that.
the last thing.
Everybody,
Hold up.
Yeah.
This is the last thing I'm saying. This is the last
everybody.
thing. This is the last thing I'm gonna say about it.
Come on now.
If media ain't so important, why China banning all men that look sensitive and showing like they not masculine men on TV?
Because China is communist. That's why
No,
China's a
no, no, no.
communist
I'm saying
state. They
no,
can
no,
do
no, no. I'm
that.
saying
That's
why are
why.
they doing it though?
But
If
they're
if media if media
for whatever.
no, I'm saying if media don't
Look,
work.
I'm not gonna dive in. I'm not gonna dive in people's. I'm not gonna do that, man. I'm not gonna do that. My comment was just in jest. I'm not gonna do that, man, because we got, what I mean. We gotta be respectful to some
No, no,
people,
no.
you know what I mean, and our
No,
fans. So I don't want to dive into that, man. I really don't.
no. I'm
I
saying
really don't.
I'm not
But you
disrespecting them.
can't
I'm just saying
disrespect
media.
somebody and then also say that you're gonna respect some. Like we
Yeah, but
can't do that.
I was just saying it in jest. I
I
wasn't
know, but
disrespecting
we
Tariq. I
can't do
wasn't
that.
disrespecting Tariq. I was just saying in jest. That's all. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? That's it, man. But you know what I'm saying? But I'm not, because I don't want to be a
I'm talking
I
about
mean
media.
we can
I'm
get
not talking
into it.
about
We can
sexuality.
get into it, man, cuz I don't want to be a hypocrite, man, because then how can we then look at people we love and tell them that we love them for who they are, but then saying things that is contradictory to that love, man?
Are
How can that exist?
are
That
are
can't exist.
are your loved ones selling their sexuality? Even if y'all would come to my daughter and talk about sex, I will stop y'all in y'all tracks.
I would never
But
do nothing.
No, no,
I
no,
wouldn't
no.
even
Listen,
let it get that far. I wouldn't even let
that's
it
what
get
I'm
that
saying.
far. There's
That's
some
where we
response.
at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
That's
what
where
you're
we at,
saying,
but
man.
like I
Dante.
keep
That's
saying,
where we
there
at.
is, but like I keep saying, there is a responsibility that people have in consuming.
You can't.
The
You can't watch
reason
the
that
kids
these things are
24/7.
happening. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, because I can't hear you because you're talking while I'm talking. The reason that these things are happening and are in the news is because it's consuming. It's the same thing with WAP. It's all these same things, man. Like
Let's go to
it is
another thing.
consumer.
Let's go to another
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, because I don't what I was saying wasn't just, man. And I do have issues with Tariq, man. I do have issues with Tariq, man, and Tariq uses his platform. He doesn't use his platform always for good for black people. He uses it for his own self. But what I
And
was
Joe and the
saying
other
was,
dude you listen to don't do that.
what's that?
What's his name?
Roland?
Yeah, he don't.
Hmm.
He don't got
No,
no
I
agenda.
say it's different because Roland bring on guests who are trying to inform black people. Man, Tariq
No,
Nasheed,
and
people
he bring
like
on
people.
opposite. He bring on opposite guests too sometimes.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
oppose him.
He's had opposite guests on.
Yeah.
The issue that I have with Tariq is that look, you put information out there like that, like the Democrats never done anything to black people, and here we are, where Republicans are stripping away voting rights, Republicans are stripping away abortion rights for women, and your comment, and he hasn't. Now remember, he has not commented. I follow him on Twitter. He hasn't. He has not commented on voting rights. He has not commented on anything that has to do with black people. But he made sure to make a comment about that. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, man,
That's
look,
done. That's done with intent, man. That's done with
bro,
intent.
it
And
is
and and,
it
it, and
is
it's
with
it's harmful,
intent.
man. It's harmful.
Look,
And I'm not saying that we should we should be voting for the Democrat Party, but what I'm saying is that the percentage of people who are black who vote for the Democrat Party, you are trying to peel off. Same thing he did in 2016. Same thing he did prior to that. They paid to peel off votes for the opposition, a party who's hostile to black people. That's my issue. Is when you're helping people be hostile to black people. That's a problem, and we got to call them out for this. We let people like that slide all the time, simply because we agree with them on little messages. We let people slide. We let people like that slide all the time, man.
So you don't like
But
David
that's my
Banner
comment.
either.
That's my comment on Trina
You don't
Sheen.
like
But
David Banner either.
hold up,
what's
time out,
that?
time
You
out.
don't
I
like
Let
you
don't.
me
I
don't like
don't.
you
I
just
don't. I don't follow celebrities, man. I
look,
don't.
let,
I don't
let me
David
follow
let
Banner
me
say the
celebrities,
same
man.
thing.
I don't. I
let me.
don't.
Can I jump in here, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just please
Go
jump
ahead.
in here? Look, what Lil Nas X is doing. I just had this conversation with my son. I ain't cool with like listening to rap, gangster music, being my age, and the effects that I see that it really have on people. Yeah, I ain't really cool with it. I listen to it, but I ain't really cool with it. At the end of the day, the problem that that we are seeing on both sides is either that we're going to be cool with both of them, or we can't be cool with none of it. Period.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I agree. I
and
agree.
like just going like this whole thing
But
on
I don't think they're apples to apples though. I don't think they're apples to apples.
because it's not. It's the same. Like it's man, it's literally the same conversation I was having with my son. Like the problem is people are jumping sides, and that's a problem. That's a problem within itself. When you're sitting here, man, when kids are being affected, I don't think sexuality should ever be sold to no kid. That's just the way I feel. I don't care if
But it's
it's
always has been. It
no, no,
always
but
has
that's
Not
not
been.
what
on
we.
this level.
That is not what we are talking about. What we are talking about is the simple fact of
Is a man
regardless.
selling sexuality to kids
No,
No,
and
no, no,
offending
no,
women.
no, no, no,
no.
no. Because again, you did not hear the where I started off from the beginning. I don't care if it's Nicki Minaj. I don't care if it was Two Live Crew. Like when we were listening to Two Live Crew, we were 14, 15, 16, 17. Man, that ain't the same as having a fan base at being 8, 9, and 10.
But there
But
were 8, 9,
again,
and 10 year olds who were listening to Two Live Crew.
yeah,
We
yeah,
can't
they
we
got
can't say
banned.
there wasn't.
Well, they got
But
banned.
We can't say
But
there wasn't.
no, no,
No. They're 14 and
they did
15
get
year
banned.
old cousins and brothers.
Two,
No, they
two live crew did get banned. They got banned.
right. But if they're but you could still go buy a Two Live Crew record. You could still go buy a Two Live Crew tape. That's what I'm saying. You could go
they
buy
was the
buy a
reason.
Two Live Crew tape,
How do you
and that
get banned and still buy something?
They the reason why you had to put 18,
that why
21
you
on
had to
the.
put the parental
Yeah.
advisory. Yeah, they're the
But
reason you had to put parental
they
advisory.
took them off the shelf for that time. And again, the problem comes in the conversation is the reality. the reality is, at the end of the day, that ain't right, and that ain't right. Period. Because we
But
don't have conscious music.
and I
We,
get
we
it,
don't we don't
but
have educational music that's really trying to teach these kids to balance all of that stuff out.
and we don't, right? But you made a good point in that, Tariq Nasheed didn't say anything about WAP. If it's about sexuality, then he should have said something about WAP.
About what?
He
Boom.
should say something about Nicki Minaj. You know what I'm saying? If this is
Mm-hmm.
about sexuality, Boosie should be doing the same thing.
He
Mm-hmm.
said
You
it.
know what I'm
Boosie
saying?
said it.
About WAP.
Boosie said it about sexuality. Period.
But did
No,
he
he
mention
did.
WAP?
No, he said sexuality. Period. And
But did he
He said
mention WAP? He
he said if
mentioned
he
he
did he mention
didn't
he
point
didn't
out a
mention them by
certain,
name, right? And that's important
but
in this conversation.
that is
He
important.
mentioned he has to mention them by name. He can't just say sexuality. He has to say, "Nah, I don't agree with Nicki Minaj. I don't agree with Cardi B. I don't agree with Lil Nas X." If that's the case, then that's the case. But when you don't do that, it makes it seem like you are only not okay with this because you just explicitly don't agree with it. You know what I'm saying? If you're going, like you saying, if you're going to call it out, call everything out, call everybody out by name. You know what I'm saying? Don't just reserve it for those you feel that you can target. That is my issue with what Tariq Nasheed is doing and what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? Or individuals like that, Boosie, the same way. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna do it, then do it. Like you're saying, gangster
that's
rap. Like,
because
look, man, yeah,
that's they because your school trying to tell you that your son or daughter is you shouldn't call him a he or she. You shouldn't call him a he or she. And they can determine at 4 or 3 what they want to be in life.
yeah. But I don't think you should let. I don't think you should ever let the school determine that, man. I think that
No,
you
no,
should
that's what
always
the
have
school's
those
saying.
conversations. Yeah,
That's what
but
your
you should
school
always have
person.
those conversations with your kid. Your kid should
No,
always be able to
no.
deflect that. You know what I'm saying?
My point is, this is probably what they seeing. They seeing the world doing all this, so that's why they attack that so much to that length.
So you just said something, Tay,
I mean,
right?
Boosie's younger than us. Boosie might look
Yeah,
older. Boosie's younger than us.
yeah.
He might look older. He's younger. He's not
I,
older.
I thought Boosie was just a
No,
year or two older than
Booster
me.
is 38 years old. I just looked it up. I
Hmm.
said, ain't no way this man is 38. He is
He got
38 years
diabetes
old. All them drugs, man. All them
and
drugs. Him
Hard
and
life,
diabetes.
Lil Wayne. Of course, Lil Wayne's younger than us.
hard life, man.
But
Hard life.
yeah, man,
Louisiana,
he's
bro.
younger than us. You
He
know what
from
I'm saying?
Louisiana. Louisiana, a whole
Yeah,
nother
hard life.
that's a hard
Nah,
place.
But
yeah.
Louisiana's a hard place.
Well, and them drugs too. Drugs, they make you
yeah,
Yeah,
old,
but
they,
man.
since we on the topic, man, I just you know I was watching some shows with my kids, man, and they were like teenage shows,
Mm-hmm.
and I told them, I said it was a good show. I said, but my mind, I was so creeped out in my mind
Mm-hmm.
because I was watching teenagers or quote unquote teenagers on the show, but they were actually grown people. They were like in their late 20s and 30s
Mm-hmm.
playing
Mm-hmm.
teenagers having intercourse. Man, I was creeped out.
Yeah, nah,
I was
man.
creeped out, bro.
They shouldn't be
But
showing
this
that
is
on
this
TV.
is what's being pushed to them, which then talking to now my son who's in his 20s, who now tells me, oh well, they're not marketing it to actual teenagers. I said, boy, you living on a rock somewhere if you don't know how
Mm-hmm.
marketing goes. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, now you're getting into like the Two Live Crew and all that other stuff. Man, they like everybody knew who they were marketing to. It was
Yeah,
it was
they knew who they were marketing. They weren't marketing
young
Two Live Crew
teenagers.
to right. They weren't
Yeah,
marketing Two Live Crew to adults.
yeah.
That's just what's up, bro.
You know,
Oh,
and
I'm sorry. Oh, let John finish the
go,
comment. Go ahead.
John, you finish him?
No, no, no. Go
um,
ahead. Finish.
Go ahead, John. Go, John.
so this is the thing that creeps me out about all of it at this point in time, like it's stage in my life. Like when I say like I don't really listen to rap at all, besides on if I'm putting on Pimp C and maybe like UGK or something like that. Like I really don't listen to rap.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
So this toy company did a study with these parents, and they asked them to write down every time their kid um complained and begged and asked them for a toy. So they took that study and found out how to make the kid ask more, like beg them more to make it work for more, and how to intrigue kids more to get their toys.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. You don't think these marketers are targeting kids? That's who their new
Mhm.
consumer. They ain't worried about us. We the old consumer.
I mean,
We worry. They
products,
worried
but
about they worry about the new consumer, the new
yeah,
person.
products
Go
have
ahead.
always been marketed to people, man, in any
Man,
sort of manner. So I don't think that marketers are doing anything nefarious. I think they're doing
no,
things to
yeah, they are.
survive. You know what I'm saying?
They
Like
into
like
psychology now.
but yeah, but it's like old GI Joe toys were marketed to boys. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean girls didn't play with them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So but I mean, even if you go to old timey advertisements and look at old timey advertisements in newspaper, you can see who was being marketed. It was just a different form of marketing. They just learned with technology how to market, people. Now, again, I say it's up to parents, right? It's up to those parents to
You
pay
can't.
attention.
You can't. Hold up. You can't. You can't beat. They on a whole nother. All right. All right. Your eyes can only see 60 pixels per second when you're watching TV, right? Like your eyes can normally only see 60. Why are they showing TV at 130 pixels or 160 pixels per second now? Like they know that it's a hypnosis thing now. It's more they on a whole psychological level now that you can't even.
Nah, I think it's just technology, man. I think people just want a,
If
a,
your
a
eyes
brand
can only
of technology. I think it does, man. Look, I'm sorry if you show me a pixelated it's like this camera that's I'm on. It's 1080p, man.
yeah.
Right now I have it on 720p. But if I switched it, it gives a more sharper
Yeah,
image, and that's because the reason that they're doing all they're trying to increase the pixels is because our eyesight is sharper than what comes out of the TV. So they're just trying to make the image as close to sharp as the human eye. That's what it is,
you can't
with
even
a lot of that
pick
stuff.
up but your subconscious pick up the other half, but your frontal thing don't even pick up the other stuff outside the your subconscious picking up the extra.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, again, man, I think when it comes to product, look, we live in a consumer culture, whether you like it or not. We consume, right? That's all this conversation is about, right? It's consume. Whether it's consuming music, it's consuming a soft drink, it's consuming a toy, it's buying a car, it's buying a house. We live in a consumer culture. That is why they want people to go back to work, during the pandemic, so that they can consume, so that we can consume. And it's driven by profit. So if people can figure out how to create a profit that people can consume, because we import more than we export goods because of our consumerism. And that's what drove a lot of the globalization, is because of our consumerism here in America. So when we consume so much, you know what I mean, they figure out ways how to continue make you consuming, right? Like, you can't keep selling a TV at 360 pixels. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to make it Blu-ray and HD, and you know what I mean. The new X, you just won't survive if you keep things as they are without technology. Go ahead, Brian.
I mean, this is the only thing I want to say. Just because you don't know about it, don't mean it ain't dangerous. That's all I'm
I don't know,
saying.
man.
Now, just
I,
because you don't know about it, don't mean it ain't a threat to you. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah, I think that's yeah, I think that there are harmful things. I just think that we just have to keep those things in bounds, I guess. You know what I'm saying, to what's exactly harm. Look, yeah, there's just a lot of things that are harmful for us that we can always point to. Your water's harmful to you at some point.
Me personally, I'll leave my olive branch this way, man, and say some marketing is social constructed, and we have to understand that. And what we're seeing with the whole Bootsy and Little Nas X has a play in the social construction. This has always been going on. The CIA is very big on social construction. Other even colleges, even when you get down to even talking about race, all of that stuff is social construction and how you want society to start shaping itself. So you use images and so forth to then push those ideas.
Push ideas, push
Um,
agenda. Because Little Nas
yeah,
X don't make good music. That's just what it is. Like,
yeah,
let's just call it. You know what I'm saying?
so I
They,
ain't even get to that because that was
yeah,
going to be my caveat.
that's
So
what it
so to
is.
keep him relevant, this is the agenda that they are choosing to do. But Lil Bootsy hasn't figured out that hey, if I keep on talking about this guy, I'm the one who's making him relevant because
Exactly.
he's
Yes.
not really making a real stamp on good music. He
Because you
won't laugh.
think right, because you think of some, like homosexual people who are LGBTQ community. Sam Smith, he made good
Yeah.
music. He didn't have to do any of the antics. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right.
That little Nas X is doing.
Yeah.
That's just the fact of the matter. And like you're saying, Boosie and Tariq Nasheed are keeping him up because then all the stands come and they find him and they just keep him. You know what I'm saying? Keep him up. Because at the end of the
Any
day, he just
publicity is good publicity.
yeah, yeah. He just don't make good music, man. That's just what I mean. I still bump Old Town Road. Old Town Road is
Yeah.
still yeah, yeah. I still bump Old Town Road. But yeah, there is social engineering that goes on. How deep it goes, I don't know. Again, America is a consumer culture, and you have
Mhm.
some sort of you have a responsibility in what you consume. Just because it's telling you to consume, don't mean you got to do it. You do have willpower. If your willpower is not strong enough, then some commercial that's at so many megahertz, because they do it. It's at certain hertz, and they use colors and
Mhm.
and color schemes and things of that nature. And they're figuring out new ways to continue that because people are unplugging their cable. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because you ever been in this club called Shampoo up in Philadelphia? Man, it was like a club, and they always used to play like like that dance music, that do 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 do, that kind of music. Boy, I went in there and I knew everybody was on Molly, but that rhythm, that 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 tone right there, boy, set you just like this,
Yeah, yeah. You can't help but
and you
you
just in a
can't.
zone. You,
Yeah, man. That's what I say about a lot of music, man. A lot of music is, especially on the radio, man. I'm glad I don't listen to the radio because they'll just make you keep listening and listening and listening to it. Because the first time you listen to a song, you'll be like, man, I don't like this song. This song sucks. And then by
yeah,
the 10th time, you like this.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
next thing you know, you're making a TikTok. You're like,
yeah, yeah,
you doing a TikTok dance or something like
yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying? So there is plenty of truth in what's being said about how things are marketed to you and marketed to children and marketed to people. You know what I'm saying? But again, a lot of that stuff is consumed. This is just if it wasn't consumed. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. You want to talk about the Trevor Noah thing?
I do want to talk about the Trevor Noah man
Yeah.
because that was pretty dope. And I think I think his book is pretty good. I'm not a book consumer, um, but for those who really want to understand his story, um, growing up in a apartheid country and so forth, I think it's a really good book that people, that's into that kind of stuff should consume.
Okay, yeah, and we were talking earlier. He was talking about language, and that's something that as African Americans, that's been an issue here in America. I would say not so much as recently, but it does come up, every once in a while, about the way we speak. We speak a vernacular. You know what I'm saying? And many people don't understand that we speak a vernacular. We haven't, depending on where you go, like I say, if I go to Charleston, they speak Gullah Geechee, and that's their accent. I don't even understand what they saying half the time. You know what I'm saying? And it always goes into this idea in the black community about speaking right. Again, we have a portion of our community where the government tried to remove ebonics. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember being in school and my teacher, I think when it was when we first moved to Delaware, and I had a teacher that was telling me that I wasn't speaking right. You need to stop speaking ebonics.
Mhm.
You need to speak right, speak correct English. You know what I'm saying? you know and it's always interesting when people are telling, especially now when you see you see people who aren't black making money off of AAVE, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
and things of that nature. So I like those conversations when Trevor, I like he's very introspective, you know what I'm saying, and understanding his position, how he came about, and things of that nature. But yeah.
Yeah, so for me, man, I've been watching this conversation like literally blow up on. It was on TikTok, and people were talking about the whole speaking white, quote unquote, that whole thing, and like you know, and I thought it was so narrow
Mm,
on how they were placing the conversation. And keep in mind, the reason why I said narrow was because they were looking at it from only their view,
mm,
right? And not realizing how colonialization works,
mm,
how you go from people of different um, ethnic groups speaking different languages to not even speaking the language at all.
mm,
And to say that that had no influence by what we would consider white colonizers is almost foolish. And on the flip side, for those who sit back and say, "Oh, you speak white," is also foolish to me because we
mm,
always had well spoken um, black or African American people. We always
mm,
have through history,
yeah.
and which is insane that nobody gets to that place.
Yeah, like, yeah. There's a lot of people who do that. Yeah, I know that was a conversation like in the '70s and '80s and stuff like that. About speaking white, man. You know what I'm saying? And what that means, because it's always like, especially when it's coming from black people, man. Saying you speak white. You know what I mean? They're saying that, oh, you're not my idea of what a black person is. You know what I'm saying? And don't understand that is a branch off of racism, right? It's the same branch. You know what I'm saying? Same branch as colorism, same branch. When we're talking about intercultural racism that goes on. You know what I'm saying? We speak a dialect. You know what I mean? Because we in our little Facebook chat that we have, I think it was, my sister shared a video of, or no, you shared a video of somebody, of the flood happening, and they were just talking, right? I couldn't
Mhm.
open the whole video, so to tell, so I only heard sound, and I
Mhm.
heard the Delaware accent. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, and that's why I was like, oh, is this Delaware? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because I hear the accent. You know what I'm saying? And people always talking about, how black people in order to how black people got two voices. You know what I'm saying? You got the white voice and the black voice. A lot of that is part of colonialism, man. We were brought here to be colonialized. You know what I'm saying? Where colonization that happened to Haiti and the DR and Puerto Rico and Cuba, South America, those colonizers went there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. The black Africans were brought there too as well. to be colonized. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, yeah, to hear people having that conversation in 2021, that's just weird. It's just weird. Yeah, it's just weird. But yeah, yeah, man. What else? What else is on y'all's mind, man?
Oh no, I was. If Brian wasn't gonna chime in, I was gonna say, man, I was dating this Jamaican girl at one point in time, man, and this this is what people have to understand, that in Jamaica, their parents, because they want them to speak what they consider proper English, they are chastising their children to speak proper English and to get to a point that you sit back and say, "Oh, well, you're saying I'm not black enough because the way that I speak." Well, you don't understand colonialism. You don't understand colonial language. What happened? So to say that, man, it just, I think people need to really take a step back and realize, like, yeah, I was pushed to speak in a way that wasn't related to the basis of people that I, quote unquote, uh color wise, I relate to. And then other people on the other side saying that kind of stuff, man, I just think that they need to sit back and say, yeah, I probably should really be cheering him on. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because at the end of the day, like, I understand what system that we are in, and dude, if this is what's going to make you successful in this system, or code switch in the system, hey man, salute. And that's the way that I look at it. I just don't understand the whole, like, trying to, like, take another issue and then trying to bash another, you know, bash other black people over this issue. I just don't get it.
Hey, man. Oh, go ahead, Brian. I don't know if you have anything. Go ahead, Brian.
I went. Well, I'd add to it. I think that a lot of things come from slavery. Like, the well-spoken black person or the Negro used to be in the house.
Mm.
So our representation of that well-spoken black boy, he used to be in the house and we used to be outside.
Mm.
And then he had a certain ideology about him, like the way he took upon the house people rules. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we looked at him different. So when we say you talk white, we almost saying you acting white too. Like, we don't know to trust you,
Tell your
because
voice that.
it goes back to the house Negro and the slave Negro, and a lot of things stem from that, the way they did that to us, and we still carry that stuff on to the day. So when somebody, because usually when they do talk proper, they they don't see they don't see things like the person that don't talk like proper. They don't, because they in another statue in their life, so they
Mm.
speaking from a higher thing. So we don't see eye to eye. Just like when you have people in office, like a Obama and a person that's in the hood, probably don't, like
Mm.
their whole thing don't match. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like what they got to go through and what
Sociological.
he got to go through. Yeah, what he got to go through is two different things. So you might not understand. So we having a problem understanding each other, even though we grow out of position. Like, just like we ain't in the hood no more, but we can't act like we don't understand what they was going through, because we went through it. We
Right.
went through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
so to say, oh man, y'all need to do this. Y'all need it. Like, that's from a person that never been there
Hmm.
and never been in that predicament. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the problem I think we have on both ends. Like it's something from slavery, and so we recognize, like, all right, you talk like that, you think like that too. Like, you know what I'm saying? We put that hand in hand, even though you probably not. You probably don't think like that. You probably just can talk well. You know what I'm
Bro,
saying?
bro.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Look, you just pointed out literally what the real issue is. Really, just a sociological connection.
Hmm.
because if you're not connected to your family that struggle, which usually are the quote unquote blacker side,
Yeah,
and you're so much, you go to work and you're trying to be around more of other cultures, it's no way that you're going to be connected in that manner. So technically, what they're saying is somewhat right
yeah,
in a sense, but on the flip side, when people say, um it's almost like saying I'm not black enough, is right itself too. And I gotta say on this caveat that one is more justified than the other, right? Because we don't we at this point in time we don't have to feel like we have to rock in other people's spaces if we're not wanted. And the problem is people are actually going out of their way to do so.
Yeah, yeah, that's where we have a lot of. That's where we got. Go ahead, Brian.
oh, like I was saying to somebody one time, I said, man, it's crazy how, but this is the crazy thing. This is the crazy thing on the other end, on the other spectrum of this. It's crazy. A white man can come into our neighborhood we was raised and get more love than we got. You know what I'm saying? They'll accept them a little bit different. Oh, look at this white boy coming to hang around with him after they find out he ain't the police. But you going in your neighbor, you get bad looks, bad eyes. You know what I'm saying? It's like having that white tiger effect. Like, when people go to the zoo, look at that white tiger. Fuck all them brown ones. The white tiger is the exciting one. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a thing, and I think even when it goes to rap, a white rapper, even if he's rap as basic as the basic black one, he'll get a lot of views just being white, like a white thing. On the other end, we like it's a double
Yeah,
thing to that though.
yeah. Mo3
We
said the
accept white
same thing in
world,
the song.
huh?
Mo3 said the same thing in the song. He was just like, you telling me about white supremacy, but when I go into the hood, only thing I'm worrying about is a nigga killing.
Yeah,
Mm,
but that would
So
say we
subconsciously, like we really got to think about that because we as a group, man, we dislike everything about ourselves so much, man. The way that we talk, the way that we sit back, like so much that we won't even sit back and look a brother in the eye and be like, "Yo, I see you, my man. Salute." We'll just mean mugging,
mm,
and that is what lead everybody else to, when you go off to, when you want to make it out of the hood, you end up sitting back doing something like going off to college, and now you only want to hang around with black people at all.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like because again, like we got to understand how that affects us as a group and why we have the troubles on getting forward as a group.
yeah. We don't trust white people, but we like white people stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, he live in the white people neighborhood. He go to, like, you know what I'm saying? But oh, he sounds white. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, man. That and a lot of it has to do with we ain't calling it, we ain't saying the name, but a lot of it has to do with white supremacy and what white supremacy is centering whiteness. Whiteness is the default. You know what I mean?
mhm,
So if you're not acting, if you're not acting something other than white, then people tend to question it. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And it's like, reading in the book in Frederick Douglass's in his biography. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about the first he talks about, and this is something that I never really paid attention to, but black people knew, right? When we had when the rest of the families, dark skinned, but our, auntie and uncle real light skinned, they happen to be the one that's just real light skinned. You know what I'm saying? Well, Frederick Douglass was talking about how there was a race of people, or I'm sorry, another slave class that was coming up, and that slave class were children of slave masters and enslaved black women. And because of the laws at the time said that black women, children inherit the status of the mother, these mixed, quote unquote, mixed race children then become slaves. You know what I'm saying? Frederick Douglass himself was mixed race, quote unquote, mixed race. You know what I'm saying? And part of that conversation that he was saying, or part of what he gets to in his book is he gets into this part where he said the slaveholders have been known to send in spies among their slaves to ascertain their views and feelings in regard to their condition. The frequency of this has had the effect to establish among the slaves the maxim that a still tongue makes a wise head. They suppress the truth rather than take the consequence of telling it, and in doing so, prove themselves a part of the human family. You know what I mean? But that what he's saying there is that, you know what I mean, that there's already the individual who is a spy looks like me and you, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a distrust. You know what I mean? That's already established. Like, oh, you knew here. You new
Mm-hmm.
here and you running your mouth, you talking. Oh no, well we need to, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna tell you anything, I'm not gonna talk to you, I'm gonna mean mug you, you know what I'm saying? These are things that are psychologically passed down, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
within our community, you know what I'm saying? That begins, like Brian was saying, it began with slavery, you know what I'm saying? You know, and we have to get to a point that we have to get rid of these things, you know what I'm saying? Get rid of these, break down barriers. You know what I mean? Yes, we got to break down structures of government, but there are barriers in my community that we have to break down, you know what I'm saying? And the intercultural racism that, you know, we have to break that down too, you know what I'm saying? Especially, you know, stop telling black people that they speak white, and don't let white people tell you speak white either. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, you know, or
Or
don't let white people make you feel bad because you speak AAVE. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't have to diminish yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you are around people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that took me a long time to learn in the military. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of black people do in the military, man. They do that, man. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? They diminish how they speak. I won't say just in the military, just in society, man. I mean, you just see it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I know that you know that there's a difference between speaking clear and being well spoken. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Well spoken is always code for, you know, speaking white. That's what they would do with Obama, right?
Hmm.
He's so well spoken. You know, and they just saying that, oh, they didn't, you know, they wanted him to talk. What did they say? And like an airplane. You seen the movie Airplane?
Yeah, I seen the movie Airplane.
See, the part where the white lady comes up, you know, the dude's asking for something. The black dude is asking for something from the stewardess, and the woman's like, I don't understand what you're saying. And the white lady comes up like, I speak jive.
Yeah, yeah.
That movie was funny, man. But you know what I'm saying? Like, people, you know, man, like you know what I'm saying? Like, what it does is it leads to these things that make us question who we are, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Can I be black all the time? You know what I'm saying? And the question and answer that, hell yeah, you be black all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
turn down your blackness. You know what I mean? And I've most definitely been an offender and victim of that. You know what I mean? Of my own lack of understanding. You know what I mean? And telling people that they need to turn down their blackness, but you don't need to turn down your blackness for nobody. You know what I'm saying?
It's
And
my greatest fear at work,
yeah, 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 yeah.
because like I speak like, like I'm talking right now, like this is how I talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when I have to, I have led meetings, I have led, like, what they call gimbal boards and stuff like that. Like, I have led those kind of things, and like I have sat back and like, damn, did I just sound? And I said to myself, did I just sound stupid? That's what I said, but not realizing, no, I sound like I sound, and you're gonna understand what you understand. If you have any questions, raise your hands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I literally battled that for years until I realized, like, after like, a couple head executives and managers, stuff like that, was like, man, you did a really good job in the meeting. And I'm like, man, you think so? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was stumbling over this and trying to find like how to say it in a more palatable way for you guys' ears, and like all of those thoughts were going through my mind, and it just it really hurts me when I sit back, and bothers me when I hear people, because I have never said to somebody, man, you talk white. I ain't never
right,
said that to
right,
nobody.
right, right,
But I
right, right, right.
also, it bothers me when I sit back and hear people say, "Man, oh, I'm pissed off that somebody said that I talk white," and I'm just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand I had like, and it's just being in corporate America, like code switching, learning how to speak in a certain tone, and all of these different things. Like, yeah, like it's a real thing. It's sort of a kind of is a real thing that some people just don't understand that.
Yeah, man, but I think we're in the area where we got to make people understand, man. Like if somebody's saying that, like if like now where I'm at, you know, what I mean, where I was about 7 years ago, if somebody was to say that I'm talking white, I would immediately challenge them, and be like, well, what do you mean you're talking white? What's that? What are you saying?
Mhm.
You know what I mean about me? You know what I'm saying? What you know what I mean? I would immediately challenge them because of my understanding of that. Talking white is them saying that I'm not black. That's just what it is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
And
this is
so,
where I'm sorry, that was
and
very quick.
so, yeah, yeah, no, no, no. And so, and I think that a lot of the issues that we have, where we have white TikTokers making money off of how speaking AAVE, is because we don't
Mhm.
challenge, because we don't challenge it, and because we allow it to happen, because we're just like, oh well, that's just the way it is. We center whiteness. We always center whiteness. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When those TikTokers, when those black dancers went on strike, you know what I'm saying? Those because they were stealing dances and not getting credit.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It is, you know what I mean, something that has to be challenged. You know what I'm saying? When it is done, in a nefarious way, and it could be a learning moment. You know what I mean, for people. You know what I'm saying? And we live in a society where we don't teach about cultural differences, you know what I'm saying? Or we don't teach that black people are an ethnic group. So therefore there are cultural and regional differences, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
black people are an ethnic group. And you know what I mean? The way you speak has nothing to do with your blackness, you know what I'm saying? So number one, so why say it? You know what I mean? People speak how they speak. That's just it. That's just it. However people speak, you know what I'm saying? That's just how they speak. And then you leave it.
Well,
And
that's where we're at in 2021. That's how I view it. But culturally and on a timeline, it did. At a period of time, and of course we had, but again, you can say the same thing for white, um rural people. You know what I'm saying? Where they used to sit back and oh, you talk like a hillbilly. You know what I'm saying? Well, they just don't get mad at that. We do in our culture. And I think at that point, that's where we really should question: is that something that we should be focused on to be upset about, let alone to challenge? That's just
yeah,
where
yeah. I just do. I just think it does need some sort of challenge, man. Because right now, with these places taking out using CRT to take out to attack, you know what I mean, black historical, you know what I mean, our experiences is in how we talk and how we, our experience is in how we talk. We do have to challenge it because if not, it'll go away. But also we have to challenge, and by challenging, I mean we have to know when we have to educate people. You know what I'm saying? To stay, you know what I mean? It's like it's like one thing that I try to challenge is, when people are referring to people as, red bone or high yellow or chocolate, you know what I mean? They're like, hey man, look, we need to take that out of vernacular. You know what I'm saying? Or when the good hair conversation was out, you know what I'm saying? The good hair conversation is a divisive conversation in the black community, you know what I'm saying? Because again, it's to, and Spike Lee showed this in School Days, right? It's to show that, you aren't dark enough, or you are too light. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing when you're talking about well spoken, you know what I'm saying? Or people are saying that you're well spoken. It you know it it deserves a challenge, because again, for somebody to say that, well spoken, you're well spoken, like, okay, so was a kid in the ninth grade, like, oh, you know what I mean, like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean? Where is the beginning of not well spoken? You know what I mean? What does not well spoken look like? You know what I'm saying? So, like, and like you're saying, nobody would challenge a person who's from the hillbilly mountains of West Virginia if they speak well, because speaking well is normal to being white. They wouldn't
No, no,
challenge
no,
that.
no.
They
No,
wouldn't.
you missed the point. I think you missed the point. I said a hillbilly who speaks that way, they don't challenge other people who say that they speak like a hillbilly.
No, 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 and
They don't
and and
challenge.
nor and yeah, nor would they, because again, it's all about being how close you are to whiteness.
Well,
That's what all these or intercultural
yeah, yeah.
conversations are within the black community. You know what I mean? It's how close you are to being white. You know what I mean? There are plenty of stories people can read about white passing people. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
And how people pass for being white. I think they made like a movie in like the 1940s or something like that, where they found she was a black actress, except she was real light and she had green eyes. And it was a movie about her passing for white. At the end of the movie, she just goes through this thing of talking about, about being, about passing. And at the end of the movie, she decides it's better for her to pass for white, than
Hmm.
it is to be black, for her to come out being black. But the actual actress who portrayed her had a problem, with that in real life. You know what I mean? She would always make it a point to make people understand
So,
that
so
she was
how
black.
would you translate that in English though, man? Like how would
Like,
you like the language? Like how would you translate that concept when you're dealing with language?
so when you're dealing with language, people have to understand that in America, we do not speak proper English. No one in America speaks proper English. If you want to speak proper English, you go to England. You go to England, they speak proper English. Even Australians who sound like they're English, but they're Australian, they don't speak proper English. They speak a dialect of English. You know what I'm saying? In America, we speak a dialect of English. You know what I'm saying? And that's because of all of the different different mixes of languages that incorporates our language. We have Hispanic language, we have French language, we have Germanic language, we have I'm sorry, not language, words. I'm sorry. We have German words, Spanish words, indigenous words, French words, English words, some Arabic words that we use. So we don't speak proper English. And then part of the vernacular changes happen, depending on the community. Just like if you go to Minnesota, people in Minnesota speak a certain way. White people in Minnesota speak a certain way. The people in white people in the mountains of West Virginia, they have their West Virginia hillbilly accent. You know what I mean? And then Tennessee has a different, vernacular. But when it comes to black people, we have always kept our African vernacular, in the way that we speak. You know what I mean? Like the one way that we do this is by saying be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, sometimes it be like that. You know what I'm saying? In in African languages, they put the B in the, the, I forget what they call it, but there's a certain word for it, but we say that. You know what I'm saying? So when you're talking about actual language in the way that we speak, it's all about it's all about, number one, who you're mostly around. You know what I'm saying? Or who you try to, who you're around the most. For us, we were always around kids within the city. You know what I'm saying? That were from Delaware, where they were in the middle of the city. They spoke with their Delaware vernacular, which is different than Philly. And I never noticed this until, I got out. I mean, I got out, I got in the military. That, Philly and Delaware have most definitely have a different vernacular. You know what I'm saying? But like I have a, kind of Delaware accent, but my kids don't. You know what I'm saying? That's because they congregated with different kids. You know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. So that's just what it's like. Our grandmom or grandpa having a southern, accent, southern drawl. Mom kind of had it, but we don't have it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's all about, man. It's just about, the community, and whenever the vernacular switches, nobody knows why it switches, for what reason. You know what I mean? People know that it does. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily connected to any genealogy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, wow. Yeah, I have to disagree, but yeah, that is it's not. Of course, it comes through time being cultivated into a society with schooling and so forth. Which again, African American vernacular. When they say that, or what we call, what's that, AAV? I don't even know.
AAVE.
Yeah, because I look, it's just language to me. But AAVE, it was always because since the what was it, uh 1700s, late 1700s, we always drop some letters off of uh some words and
We
sounds, and so
shorten we shorten
we
words.
we shorten words like that. That's always been a thing. So now when people sit back and they don't want to deal with the reality that to participate into a culture because of capitalism, that the reason why you speak in a more proper way is because of the colonialization, and to get you to operate in that society, I think it's just pretty disingenuous to not recognize that. Um,
I don't. Again, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Again, I think that migration patterns have every. That's why the word I was looking for. Migration patterns have everything to do with
mhm,
it. So when black people migrated from the South, we lost a lot of our. We started adding a lot of those vowels and words back. And depending on where you at, you know what I'm saying. Depending on where you at, you go to Chicago, you go to West, you go to the Midwest, you go to the North. You know what I mean. It sounds different. Um, Whether it was colonialization, it happened, you know what I mean, and we had to speak English, but even the original people in the 1700s spoke a language closer to English than we speak today. Today we
mhm,
speak the language that we speak is because of the mix of, Europeans that came over here, and indigenous people. It's all because of the words that we use. A lot of it is the words that we use, that we adopted over the years. So yeah, it's less about, I think it's less about the fact of colonization. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
colonization
that's
happened
that's
in
wrong.
in Puerto Rico, and colonization happened in Puerto Rico. Colonization happened in Haiti. Colonization happened in Haiti. They speak French. Colonization happened in Puerto Rico. They speak Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not their original language. And of course we talk about Portuguese and in South America, and when it comes to English countries, we were colonizers to speak English. I mean, that's just, and we adopted the English language, but we still kept our African vernacular, and how that
Yeah.
changes, that just changes over the years. But yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think it's disingenuous to not get to that point because that is where the point started.
But
Um,
are we trying to get to that point to fix something, or are we trying to get to that point
well, you,
to?
well, how can you fix it if you don't even understand it?
But that's what I'm saying. Once we understand it, is it to are we then to fix it
That
and
that that
return
is
back to our African language?
no.
Oh.
You can fix something and continue to progress in society. But right now, what I what I know I see is I don't hear people that say that you don't talk white taking the time out. I mean, that you talk white, taking the time out to go to Twitter or TikTok to make videos to to you know, rebuke or whatever against someone saying that. But I see people sit back on the other side to say, I don't like when people sit back and say this. I'm talking about I seen it on TikTok. I seen it on Twitter. Like, and man, they were going in. It was a couple of videos, and I'm just like, okay, why is this a thing this week?
Hmm.
And I think that is where the problem lies is by because I think on that side of the fence, I don't think that they understand how they have been colonized to even speak that way. So to even get upset with somebody is not the right way to go, but try to make them understand that hey, you know, in our history, this has been going on. XYZ.
Hmm.
You know, we got to a place where, you know, a mass number or a percentage of people were able to read when they were low literacy. So we learned a language, which would be the English language. So, but we learn that so we can learn to survive into that culture and that society. And that is where I don't think the conversation is happening. I think they're dropping off on saying, "Oh, I'm just upset that they're saying that, and that's not right."
I think that because it's understood. You know what I mean? I think that it's just one of those things that's just it's just understood, right? I think that's you know, it's like people in England. Their original language wasn't English.
Mm,
They were colonized too. They were colonized. They were colonized by the Scandinavians and colonized by the French and colonized by the Germans, by Germanic people. They didn't, and That's how we got to speak English. That's how we got to speak English. So I think that eventually it becomes understood, and I think that once it becomes understood, then what is the purpose of saying it? What is the purpose of saying it? If it's understood that we speak English and that we all speak a different dialect of English and have different accents, then what is well spoken? You know, there is no version of well spoken English other than England.
I think you're dealing with two different things when you're saying well spoken and I'm saying talking white. I think we're dealing with two different things.
Yeah, you're talking colonization, right? You're talking the colonization of the language, and that's not being discussed. But again, we speak a version of English that comes from England. They speak a version of English because of the different groups that colonized them. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So all of it is to be understood that hey, this colonization happened, we speak English. This colonization happened, we speak English. You know what I mean, or French or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's no like need for a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no like there's no like you're going to continue to have that conversation. You know what I'm
So
saying?
the young boy in the hood
Mm-hmm.
that he speak AAVU, whatever, like that's how he speak because
Mm-hmm.
that's how everybody around him speak.
Mm-hmm.
Saying like, and when he sit back and meet a young kid who may grew up somewhat quasi in the suburbs, or his parents live in the city but he send him to good schools,
Mm-hmm.
and he comes around and that's how he speak, and they sit back and they say that, how
Mm-hmm.
can you say to a kid in that position that that should be understood?
Because then we have to teach that kid who is actually in that position, the one who's not understanding that they can still have a conversation. He can speak the way he speaks, and this other person can speak the way they speak, and they can have a conversation. It doesn't have to get to the point to where someone comes out and say, "Why do you talk like that?" You know what I'm saying? And that's a lot of things we deal with in the African American community. You know what I mean? Because we just need to understand, like, hey, man, we can still talk. I don't have to sit here and communicate with you in shortened language in AAVE. I can talk how I normally talk, and you understand what I'm saying, and I understand what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm around you and stuff like that. And I think that that's where the conversation just need to go. Like, look, y'all, we can still talk without recognizing, someone speaking like that. I mean, it's like the kids in the suburbs, using AAVE, like, but I also understand that the reason that they use AAVE is because of the music they listen to. Like they're culturally the hood is on video. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't necessarily have to grow up in the hood to speak AAVE. They just watch music videos or watch TikToks or Snapchats or whatever
Catch
they're
me
doing.
outside. How about that?
Yeah, the Catch Me Outside girl is perfect example of that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? What the area in Florida she's from, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of black people that live there, you know what I'm saying? But that's
Mm.
how she speaks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Where she learned to speak like that? Well, she listened to rap music and she watched YouTube and you know what I mean, and Snapchat, and then her friends at her little school speak the same way. These kids that get imported from the hood, or the quote unquote hood, get imported into these suburban schools, and
Mhm.
they speak that way. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I like how the way you speak. Well, I'm gonna speak that way from now on. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, the conversation I would have with that young kid is like, look, man, and if that young kid from the hood saying, man, why he speak like that, man, you know what I'm saying? I would be like, hey, man, y'all can still have a conversation without saying that. And the other way around, right? Like, oh, if the kid was like, oh, well, you need to speak more well spoken, I'm like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, how that person is speaking is how it's fine. You can understand him. You know what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? And
So
you
to some,
navigate that in your adult life, how you
yeah.
need to navigate that, man. How you need to
So to
navigate that.
sum this up, really, when that happens, when it's the poor kid who speaks AAVU or whatever, I still can't get it together. Whatever.
It's all good.
um,
AAVE.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't know it was an acronym to it. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. We're speaking in
but
AAVE right now.
yeah, yeah. So, so when that kid say, you know, hey man, you talk white, man, and so the reaction really shouldn't be being upset. The reaction
Nah,
should
man.
should should
Nah,
be
not unless
trying
it's
to
not
find a way to engage.
right. Not unless it's a repetitive thing. Not unless it's using as a
A bullying.
way to bully you, right? Way to
Yeah,
bully
yeah,
you. So because what happens is it goes from saying that, oh man, why you talk white, or why do you write like that, or why do you learn this, Why do you know what I'm saying? It begins this thing, this thing where it becomes bullying. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
And you never know how much that person who is now reacting angrily to it, how many times they had to hear it. You know, that one time that they heard it is the one time they were like, all right, man, I am done hearing this. You know what I'm saying? And you can't hold that against that person. You know what I'm saying? Because it might have been because you never know. Like we talked about trauma, you never know how trauma manifests itself. So you know, if that trauma manifests itself in the way, look, that person was like, look, I'm tired of people saying that, and this is the first time that I'm reacting to it. You know what I'm saying? Then you can be like, hey, okay, man, let's have a real conversation about not responding to that. You know what I mean? And understanding their ignorance. You know what I mean? And if it becomes a bullying thing, then we need to address it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So we're entering into part three. We'll just keep going. We're in part three of our conversation that we're having here. Try to get Brian back, but I guess he's in a call. Yeah, man. Anything else, man? You want to chat about?
No, no, man. I really wish I should have ended just saying, that Trevor Noah, what he was talking about in his book, because that's where we started off, is just
Mm-hmm.
talking about him understanding or getting to a place of understanding how colonialism affected one, how he operated one through language, also through how people treated him, um,
Mm-hmm.
being a lighter skin. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really just a like spark a conversation that those conversations, man, my feeling is dealing with them with anger does no justification. I don't care what side you on,
Yeah, you gotta be
because
selective with it.
yeah,
Yeah,
because we've
yeah.
missed the mark of what has happened to us, and that we're placing that now on another brother or sister
Mm-hmm.
instead of on the supremacy that it needed to be on in the first place.
Yeah. But sometimes they need it. Like we talk about with Candace Owens and Larry Elder and things of that nature. Like, look, yeah, I'm gonna be upset with you because you're perpetuating this. You're perpetuating the supremacy. No matter what, no matter how much stuff Larry Elder reads, he always twist the truth and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I agree.
I think it's a difference between checking someone
Hmm.
and being angry with someone.
No. Yeah. No. That there is a difference. There is a difference, and you're right. You gotta be selective with your outrage. You know what I'm saying? You do gotta be selective with your outrage, and it can't be. If it's a one time blow up, man, maybe there's some stress and mental, some mental scarring that happened. You know what I'm saying? That needs to be explored. You know what I mean? But if it's a constant, outburst, then that most definitely is not the right answer to those things. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, people like Larry Elder and Candace Owens, like we said,
Yeah,
man, they to me, because they keep perpetuating it, they deserve anger. Because
yeah.
at this point, people use them and their talking points as a sword against black people.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. So but yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. Just ignore that stuff, man. People that say stuff like that, man. They're ignorant. They're ignorant on in their own understanding. So no matter what you say to them, they ain't gonna know anyway. You know.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. They ain't gonna be willing to learn anyway. But yeah, man. I don't know if I want to get in this pandemic stuff, man. But it's just pissing me off. People just making me mad, man. I guess what I'll say on this pandemic is that, man, there are a lot of people who who have a phone in the palm of their hand, has a computer in the palm of their hand. And one thing I'll tell people, man, like nothing is hidden about the vaccine. Nothing is hidden about the research of the vaccine. Nothing is hidden about any of that stuff. You can go find it. It is readily available. The people who develop the vaccine are trying to make money. They have no interest in poisoning people for some reason, because we have to generate taxes for various governments. That's how a lot of these governments survive, is on the back of our labor and through our taxes. So they have no interest in harming their own community. You know what I'm saying? Or commit
You
some
gonna
sort
take
of
out,
genocide.
yeah, you're gonna take out a third of the population that could have been your customers.
That could have been. That doesn't make any sense, man. It doesn't make any sense. And then there's one dude I seen on Twitter. He said, the people that get the shot trust the government. I was like, so you ain't got a driver's license? You don't drive on the highways or drive in the streets? Oh, you
And your
not gonna
kid
call the
probably
fire
go to a
department?
private school.
A private school that's
I
going to
mean, not a
demand
private school, a
a
public
public
school.
school that's going to demand them show vaccine. Even private schools, they demand that you show vaccines. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, you ain't going to collect your social security checks. It's like, yo, y'all are out here. Y'all, look, man, I understand people have their own, whatever feeling, but you your feeling can't override facts, man. Your feeling
Yeah,
can't override
man.
facts, man.
Like this kind of stuff, bro. Like this is the stuff that goes on that's going to eventually not push policy for Social Security,
Yeah,
the
man.
expansion of it,
Man, people ain't getting it.
healthcare.
They ain't
Like
getting it.
they are literally talking themselves out of
Out of it,
better
man.
health.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm just
man.
like, are you not thinking long term?
No. No. Tuskegee, man.
Good God, man.
What about Tuskegee?
Ugh.
I'm like, yo. Like, yo. And I'm like, somebody said that. Well, you know what they did in Tuskegee? Yeah, they made a whole movie about it.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Did you watch the movie? They
They didn't
literally
give them vaccinations.
They didn't give them the vaccinations. They say it in the movie. They literally took the court transcripts and made a movie.
Oh, God.
Oh, I'm like, yo, y'all are crazy, man. Like, look, I get it, man. I get it. Black people have a right to be skeptical of the government. You know what I mean? But this is a global pandemic. There are other countries who are giving out vaccines. They're not going to wipe off, a third. So I'm just like, yo, y'all are. Look, man. Like I told somebody, look, man. By next spring, if you're not consistently wearing masks or choose to get vaccinated, if you can, you know what I'm saying. By next spring, you ain't gonna make it to the hospital, man. I'm like, whatever variant is out, you ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it. I'm just like,
And hospitals are saying that they eventually have to start making a choice between, if you're not vaccinated, should they even take you
should they
in?
even take you in over
You
this
know,
person who is vaxxed and
who's
has an issue
vaccinated and who has an issue that needs surgery.
that needs surgery, man?
And I'm just like, at the end of the day, man, natural selection. I'm with it.
That man,
And
that's
I'm
what I
sorry.
say, man. Like, sorry, man, you had a choice, man. I think that this is one of those rare times to where if you were against vaccines, like, this is not that time, at least from what I'm seeing in the data. And now I'm starting to, I don't even like tuning into the news because now I'm starting to see kids dying. So, yeah, man, I don't even care, or kids getting sick and get intubated with the oxygen, man. So those things are happening, man. And yeah, man, and with their
Another South
adults,
Carolina kid, man,
bro.
just died, man.
That's crazy,
Fourth
man.
grade.
Oh,
Fourth grade.
crazy, man.
Because his teacher decided to read out loud and take the mask off
Jesus,
and had COVID.
that's crazy. And with that decision by the governor, school board can't do nothing. They
Can't do
can't send them
nothing.
home.
No.
Can't protect that kid. Can't protect that kid in any sort of way.
But but they care about the kids.
They care about the kids though. Yeah, they care about the
But they
kids,
care
man.
about the kids. I'm
They're
like,
pro
man,
life, man. They're pro life,
good
man.
God, man.
As I try to tell somebody, man, like, look, man, these people that are telling you about not getting your kid vaccinated, they got their kids vaccinated.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man. All these politicians and people on the like on Fox News, because they sent out a memo saying you can't show up to the studio unless you're vaccinated. Everybody that shows up in that studio is vaccinated.
Because you know what the real conspiracy was?
What's that?
The real conspiracy was this was the most racist virus that came along.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, they told black people from the beginning, you can't get the
You can't
virus
get the virus. You can't get it.
because you black.
Cause you black, man. You black,
Your
man. You got.
melanin is gonna protect you. And niggas bought it.
Yeah, man. They did,
And
man.
then what else did they move to when niggas was dying?
Dying. They were like, oh, it's just them dying. Open it up.
Open it up.
Open it up. It's just them
Bro,
dying. It's just them.
it's the most racist thing that was going when I said that to one of my coworkers at the point of time, he sat back and his eyes like to drop. And I
Yeah,
sat back
man.
and this was in the beginning.
It was in the
And he was just
beginning.
like, you think so? I
I
said,
was
look,
in the beginning.
I said, now that you're starting to see articles after articles that came out that black people was dying and now people were storming the capitals of states talking about open
States.
everything up, you don't think it's racist?
Yeah, man. Like,
Come on, bro.
connect the dots, man. Connect the dots, man.
They don't care that black people were
Okay.
dying.
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, nah, man.
And now you got black people telling other black people not to get the vaccine while they say they care about black people.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, man. That's just what it is, man. It's crazy, man.
Dr. Briggs.
Oh, yeah, man.
Dr. Briggs trying to sell a book.
Oh, you talking about who you talking
Man, some doctor, man.
Dr.
I can't
Briggs.
even remember. Yeah, man. I came across his joint on Facebook earlier today. And he was like, oh, the truth came out. Oh, the truth came out. So he dragged it on for a whole 7 minutes and didn't say not one
Didn't say
word,
not
but
one
the
word.
truth came out.
Mm.
And then he started back talking about the Democrats and this and that, and
That's the agenda.
and start talking about they want you to get the vaccination, and the truth came out. And I was on there like, man, he ain't said not one goddamn
He
word.
ain't said one word, man.
I said he trying to sell you his book. Don't buy that shit.
Look, man, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, there are a lot of people that look like us, and that's all they want to do is sell a book. That's all they want to do is sell something to you, man. I just, man, like when I'm on Twitter, I just look, just scroll through their Twitter, like, oh, there it is. That's why they're saying what they're saying.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's why they all saying it.
oh, okay. Oh, you want people to
They
donate
are
to
selling
your
something
what?
to you.
I got you.
Right.
I got you. Yeah, man.
So they are selling something to you, man, and that's why they are saying it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. All right, man. You got anything else, man?
No, man, no. It was just an open conversation, man. And I like that.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna wrap it up, man. Final comment, man.
Final comment, man. Look, protect your kids. Like, really protect your kids. Don't just say that you're protecting your kids and you're not vaccinated and you still hanging out partying and so forth, man. Do two of the three measures. If you're out, put on the mask. If you're out, social distance. If you're out, be vaccinated. And just pick two of them, man. If you can't social distance, you don't need to be there.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I'm saying? Like, really, this is a tool that some people are using in this country, man, that are racist.
Yeah.
And watching us die out. If you are truly pro-black, man, get vaccinated, protect yourself, or stay away from crowds.
Yeah, man. Stay behind the house. Yeah, man. Good word, man. Good word, man. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, man. Just get some information on this virus, man. Go to your state health department's website. It's usually DHEC of some sort, Department of Health. I forget what the EEC is, but it's usually DHEC of some site, some way. Start there, and then you can actually go to the different. You can go to Moderna's website, you go to Pfizer's website, you can go to Johnson and Johnson to learn more. If you want to get in depth on studies and things of that nature, you can go to the United States CDC. You go to the CDC.gov and get information on it. You know, um, we gotta protect our kids, man. Because right now people want us to kill our kids, man. And that's really what it comes down to, man. Yeah, there's a pandemic of ignorance going on, and it is at the end of the day, man. When everything clears, man. Yeah, man. I just don't want it to be a whole bunch of black people, man, and I don't want it to be a whole bunch of people in general. You know, you know. But yeah, man. Like my bro said, man. You know, yeah. Heed his words. That's what he said was good. What he said was good. All right, man. Hey, we had a good conversation. Thank you guys who tuned in, man, peering into conversation that me and my bros had, man. It's spirited at times, but it is all in love, man. If there's one thing that my mom taught us, or just our family taught us, man, it's just that, we at the end, we're going to have disagreements because we're different people. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, my mom would tell us to, tell each other, say good night. Make sure when you say good night, go tell your brother and sister you say you love them, and that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I wish everybody adopted that, man. Tell your people that you love them, and as often as you can. We will resume, have conversations, and we'll probably have one more conversation in September. Have to see about that one. I'm trying to get my boy on the horn for the gun conversation. So if you tune into this, make sure you have a great week, man. And we are out. We are out. Thanks for tuning in to Yah'm saying. We out, yeah. Peace.
Yeah, man.